Hi, and welcome back to Keep Smiling with Larry Rifkin. I'm Larry Rifkin. How are you? We've spoken in the past about spiritual health. We've spoken in the past about working on ourselves and loving ourselves and learning that happiness comes from within. And we've spoken about being on a spiritual path. And today I kind of wanted to focus on several of the spiritual practices that we want to really take a look at and deal with on a daily basis. I know one of the most important things, and I've spoken about this in the past, that we want to do is we want to make sure, probably the biggest spiritual practice is living in the moment and being full of gratitude. Gratitude for all things around us and things that we do. And I wanted to also take a few moments and talk to you about different spiritual practices and what we can do to bring ourselves a little bit further on our path and on our journey. Remember, this path that we're on, or the path that I'm on, there's no destination. The path in and the journey is the adventure. And if I think the object that I look for is every day I try to be just a little bit better than I was yesterday. And I try to appreciate the things that I have, that I notice, and that I recognize, and also take notice of some of the things that I don't necessarily recognize. I know that one of the best ways on a spiritual path, and one of the practices that I try to use and that's so important to me, is the people that we surround ourselves with. You know, you can be as happy as you want to be, and we can a lot of times judge our happiness by the people that are around us. And if we have a lot of people around us that are always negative and always look at the dark side and always look at the problems and the issues, that's going to lower our vibrational frequency, and that's going to lower our self-esteem, our self-confidence. So take notice and recognize the people that you associate with, that you surround yourself with. And as you notice this, and as you are getting further on your path and you want to get further, you want to notice and surround yourself with people who are in a positive state of mind or a like-minded philosophy, who always try to recognize and appreciate the beauty, the truth, the happiness that's around us. The people that are around us do have an effect on us. You know, yes, happiness does come from within, and yes, we control everything that happens to us through our thoughts. But we want to use as much as we can in our arsenal, in our toolbox, to help us on our path and help us get further on our path. And one of the things that you want to do is recognize the people that we surround ourselves with. Another very good practice in spirituality, and we talk about this in a lot of different contexts, is visualizing. Yes, we have spoken about building a dream board, a vision board, and the reason that we do that is to help us visualize. But even further than that, take what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on and visualize it in the context of already having it. Visualize it as if it already was. And that feeling that you have for accomplishing that task or helping that person or whatever it is, visualize it being done and you being able to reap the benefits of having done this work and see it complete and feel in your heart of hearts the emotions, the feelings, everything of seeing this completed or done or moving forward or moving to. So we want to absolutely visualize it. Another important practice, and this is something that I'm just now getting comfortable with, and something that I just recently started. As a matter of fact, several weeks ago, actually over a month ago, we had spoken about New Year's resolutions. I don't know if that's the greatest words. These are things that we wanted to take notice of and wanted to work on and grow with. One of the things that I decided right around New Year's, and I had decided this before and I had started it before, but I didn't follow it through, is keeping a journal. Keeping a journal is extremely important. I jot down every day, and I'm actually now doing it two different ways. I'm keeping a written journal, and I'm keeping an audio journal also on a recorder. I find that I get into more detail on my audio journal than I do on my written journal. But on my written journal, I write down any of the blessings that I've had for that day. Anything that's come into my life that's made me better, stronger, wiser, brought me a little bit further on my path. So I write those things down, and I actually take a pen in my hand to a piece of paper, and I sit there and I write them down. I write down any challenges that I've had during that day. If something has come up unexpectedly, I'll sit down there and I'll write it down, because I want it to come to the forefront of my consciousness. I want to recognize these shortfalls or these areas or challenges that I need to address and work on. So if I just think about it, that's one way, and then I think about it, it's in my mind for a little while, and then it goes away, and I don't think about it again until I don't do something again. But when you actually take the act of putting a pen in your hand and taking the pen to paper and writing it down, it will help cement that into your mind so that you can say, okay, yes, this is something that I want to work on. This is something that I need to address, and this is something that I need to find a new way or a new option or a different way of looking at this. So I am learning the value of a journal, and I look back at my journal just over these past couple of months. We're now in the middle of February, but I notice that I can look back and I am addressing where my shortfalls come, where my blessings are, and what I'm grateful for, and all types of things along that type of line. And any way that you want to journal, whatever is comfortable for you. If you want to journal by writing it down, if you want to journal by doing it over an audio track, I believe most cell phones these days now have a recorder on them. You can talk right into your cell phone and it will record it there. Or an old-fashioned tape recorder. Or any type of recorder that you have. So this allows us to take notice of these things, the blessings to appreciate and be grateful for, and the challenges to work on and address and face. You know, we always want to be honest with ourselves. We always want to be honest with everybody that we deal with. And one of the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements, is being impeccable with your word. But you can't address something if you're not honest with yourself and actually put it down that it needs to be looked at and it needs to be addressed. So keeping a journal is one of the very important tools that I'm just learning to use properly, and is helping me on my path. Might be able to help you too. And I can talk to you about things that I do on my path, and I share them with you. And if there's something that you can learn from these and take from them that will help assist you in getting further on your path, that's wonderful. But I talk and I share with you from my own personal experiences. One of the other practices that is a cornerstone in my on my spiritual path is, and I talk about this a lot, and I do know it, but it is gratification and being grateful for all the blessings that we have in our lives. We talk about this a lot because it's one of the most important cornerstones, principles, ideas in spirituality is being grateful and living in the moment. You know, we want to also, when we're doing our gratifications and we're doing our affirmations, we want to affirm not only all the positive that's in our life, but we want to affirm the things that we want to manifest into our life. We affirm them in our minds. We affirm them by visualizing them. We affirm them by talking about them as if they already existed and believing in our mind that they already exist. As if you live as if I've already succeeded in that, as if I've already overcome that challenge, as if I've already gotten there. And you affirm that with what you're doing, and as you affirm it, you start to program our minds to seeing it in that light and making it a reality. So one of the things that I'm very disciplined in and deal with all the time is to notice the things that I'm grateful for, and obviously there are many things that I take for granted at times. But I do recognize the things that I'm grateful for, and I give thanks to the things that I'm grateful for. And this is very, very important on a spiritual path. As we started out this show, you know, we want to live in the moment. Probably one of the most helpful spiritual practices that I've learned on my journey is how to let go. And this is an evolving process, and it's something I don't think anybody ever masters completely, but we work on. We can't be tethered to past circumstances, past challenges, or past issues. We need to learn to be able to let these things go, because when they hold you back, when something from your past holds you back, you are now being kept a prisoner in your path, in your past. And there's no growth from there because you can't move forward. So if we recognize these things and we let them go, whatever it was, a bad relationship, a bad career choice, or a challenging career choice, I don't like the words good and bad, or anything that we've done in the past that we possibly wish that we hadn't done, or regret, or anything like that. Whatever it is, the past is gone. You can't stay there. You can't stay tethered to a past relationship, because if you do, you're not allowing you're not allowing growth, you're not allowing the next person that comes along any room in your heart. If you think of your heart as an inn or as a hotel, and you have it filled with this past challenges and past issues and past problems that you've had, the inn is now filled, and it's filled with this clutter, and it's filled with this negative energy and negative vibrations, and there's no room in the inn for happiness to come along, for the next relationship, which may be the right relationship, it may be your soulmate, it may be your twin flame. But if they come along and you're still holding in all this resentment, this anger, this frustration, fear, whatever it is, from that past relationship, there's no room in your heart or in your being for the positive to come in and for the positive to reside there. So we want to take whatever is negative in our past, on our path, and let it go. And we talk about forgiveness, and this is one of the biggest things that I've talked about many times, is when we address forgiveness, we usually think that we're talking about forgiving other people, and we are. That is important. No matter what anybody did to us in the past, we do need to let it go. And you'll find that when you let it go and you let that person go, that you're now thinking a little bit freer and a little bit more open and able to move forward. But now, you now have an area in there to bring this in. You live in the moment now. You're letting the past go. And going hand in hand with letting the past go is also another concept of not allowing the space in your heart and in your spirit to be taken up by worry about the future, by worry about things that might or might not happen. Again, if these things reside in your spirit, in your heart, again, as our analogy went, and you think of your heart as an inn, the inn's filled again because now it's filled with worry about, or anxiety about, or frustration about things that could possibly or not possibly happen in the future. We don't want to be tethered to our past and held prisoner by our past. We don't want to be worrying about possible issues in the future. We want to live in the moment because the moment is all we have. The past is gone and we are not guaranteed the future. So what we have now is where we live. So we want to stay in the moment, make sure we don't get caught up with all the negative emotions, negative issues, and negative challenges from the past. Don't get all holed up with worry about the future and concerns about the future. Let those things go. Let them go from your spirit. Let them go from your body. Let them go from your mind. You now have an open heart and an open mind to allow positive to come in, to allow the right situations to come in, to allow the right people to come in and be part of our world and what we're doing. As we walk along our spiritual path and we appreciate the things that we have, and we let go of the things from the past. Another thing that we want to really think about and work on our spiritual path is making sure that we're honest with ourselves, we're true to ourselves, and we know what it is that we want and where we're trying to get to. This is a spiritual practice, because if you don't know where you're going, if you're just a boat in the ocean without a rudder or without an oar, we're not going to be able to set a goal, set a direction, know the path that we're going on. So that's also another very important spiritual practice. These are just a couple of things that we can work on a daily basis, and deal with at that, each day. Each day when we get up in the morning, start with excitement in your heart and ready to seize the day, carpe diem, ready to go out there, ready to take whatever life throws at us, take the challenges, and be excited about this. And as we're on our spiritual path, if we keep these simple principles and thoughts in our mind, appreciate what we have, let go of what was any issues in the past or any challenges in the past, and do this, it's going to be easier for us, it's going to be better for us, and we're going to be happier in the long run. So, I hope you got something out of this that you were able to use and learn from. Until next time, I'll see you next week. Remember, keep smiling.